All right, it's about that time. It's time for me to talk about the gathering at Sasnak City 2026. This will be a review overall, but it's also going to be about my personal experience this year because it was a little different than I expected it to be, with some crazy twists and turns that made some parts really, really amazing and other parts kind of disappointing. Yeah, I'm not going to pull any punches on this one. There were some moments that I was like, what am I even doing here then? But we'll get to that. First of all, I left November 6th. It was about 5:45 in the morning. It's pitch dark still. The world is quiet. But I did want to grab a couple of things before I left, other than my suitcase and backpack. And that was a picture of, well, me being a disheveled mess. And also the names of the folks who made sure that my vehicle would be, present for such a trip. So I wanted to make sure y'all saw. Had that all set up. And then I headed out. Now, the drive itself was pretty boring. I ran into some construction and some slowdowns, but nothing terrible. You know what I was amazed at, and I told my husband this? I was amazed at the number of deer that had their lives cut short and were on the side of the road. Throughout this 10 to 11 hour drive, that's counting my stops to go to the bathroom, pick up something to eat. But it was a nice drive overall. No crazy wind, no crazy storms. Just a nice drive. Now, I wasn't headed to Kansas City, Missouri first. I was headed to Kansas City, Kansas first, because that's where my hotel was. Much like last year, I tried to save a few bucks by staying at a hotel a little further away from the venue. Now, last year, I had to stay close enough that an Uber ride wouldn't, negate the difference in cost. And this year, I just had to make sure I cover my gas. So I did stay about 20 minutes away in Kansas City, Kansas at American Hotel. This is not a high-end hotel, but you can tell at one point it used to be a decent little resort. But the rooms were clean. I had an extra bed, which meant I spread out a lot. It's amazing to me the amount of things that I can fit into a suitcase and a book bag, and it ends up taking up the entire space of the room that I'm staying in. But again, good room. I tried to show it to some members so y'all could see that I was safe and sound. It had arrived alive. It's important stuff. And then I headed to the venue. Now, I love the drive to the venue. This has happened at both places I've stayed. I get to go in and see the big wheel and a view of the city all lit up in the evening, which is, even through my smeary windows, really cool. I enjoy looking at this big Ferris wheel sucker. And so that kind of lets me know that I have arrived, although there were still some twists and turns on the roads before I got to the hotel. The Cascade Hotel is where it was being held this year, and the meeting area, while we all kind of register, is a little different than the hotel from last year, but a nice, comfortable seating space, loads of people around, and again, very organized registration, very organized volunteers. I want to thank Gina and all of the volunteers for making sure that logistically this convention happens without a hitch, even though I know she's running around backstage driving herself crazy. For us who are enjoying it, you do a fantastic job, and I really appreciate that. So I chatted with a few folks, but only for about an hour. I had been driving for almost a day, so I really was looking forward to getting back to the hotel and relaxing a little bit, which I did. And then the next day came, and I headed off my little drive to the venue. Again, things being a little different, being in a different venue, there are some things that worked out really nicely, and some things that I was a little irritated by, and some things I was very irritated by, but I understood. The first thing I want to say is that the ballroom where they held the convention was really cool. It was very spacious. Unlike the venue last time, the vendors, the panels, and the waiting around, chilling out with other fans, all happens in the same space. It's a very decent sized space, but it was kind of odd because unlike last year, when it was time for the panels, we were kind of just in our seats rather than in a theater. And with the theater seating at the venue from last year at the World War I Memorial Museum, well, it was theater seating, like I said. No matter where you sat, you had a good view of the panel. This was a little different. While they did have the guests on a raised platform on couches, everyone was comfy, it's a little harder to see if you happen to be vertically challenged, like some of us. Not because anybody's trying to be rude, but because there's so many folks. That kind of was just disappointing. Also, I found out about 15 minutes before the panel that I wasn't allowed to record. I had thought that like last year, I'd be able to record a couple of questions, share them with you guys. But at the last minute, I found I couldn't. I knew I wasn't able to for the vow or the kingdom if I went to the other ones, but because last year and because I had brought it up with Gina on text a few times, I didn't think there were any changes. So I did have to switch around what I was going to share on this review compared to last year. But don't worry, I still have pictures and at least one question for each guest that you get to see, thanks to other folks. Now, before everything started up, I did put out my little gifts, which were my little purple bracelet, Katie's Corner in Space, also some shot glasses I'd made that have little dragonflies inside the resin, which I thought was fun, and little keychains that also have dragonflies within the resin. I thought they were cute and they were easy for me to make. People asked if I was selling them. No, I did try to sell some of my pens. I had a few takers on that, which allowed me to make some purchases later. Because I told them, I said, whatever money I make here, I'm going to give right back to Gina one way or the other. And it went straight to the vendors in the form of t-shirts. I always need t-shirts. They're important. Now, during the first day, it was my autograph and photograph day. The different tiers basically had different days that they were meeting up to do things. This is again all scheduled by Gina. So I did my autographs and I got Annette Badland, I got John Bell, I got Kristen Atherton, and of course I got Joey Phillips. When it came to the photographs, I had Joey and Kristen, and it was good times. I really enjoyed the autographs, the photographs. Get a little moment to chat with folks, and I gave John Bell my little honey bear pin. Your honey pot is bare. Anyway, he thought it was funny and put it right on. So that was cool. Also, right before then, I want to say that Sheila Ewing, she had brought a portrait she'd done of Lauren Lyle's cat. It was so adorable. And we have no pictures of it because she doesn't post pictures of them until the star gets the gift. And this is what was cool about it. Lauren wasn't there. She showed John the picture and he says, I'm just going to see her at the BAFTAs. Why don't you just wrap it in bubble wrap and I'll take it with me. So reason number 5,000, we love John Bell. Free delivery service from the man himself. So as soon as we get pictures of that, I'm going to share because she's fantastic. If you ever want portraits of your cat or your dog or any other of your beloved furry friends or feathered friends possibly, you need to talk to her. You need to check out Ewing Pet Portraits. It's on Instagram. And she's fantastic. But on more to the gathering. Now, I got at this really cool moment where we found out Charles had spaces for his meet and greet. And so, of course, I'm first person. Please, can I do this? Even though I'd promised myself I wouldn't. But I did. And in a roundabout way, I managed to get myself on a list, even though I wasn't supposed to be on the list because somebody else dropped out and said, hey, Kate, do you want to take my place? Cool. Yes, absolutely. Fork over the cash and got my space to have a chat with Charles Vandervart. Yes, my joy, my happiness, my happy place. Super sweet guy. Of course, I do have some selfies to share, but I have some news for you guys as well. When it came to Charles, we all noticed that he hadn't shaved a little while, and he said that the reason he is growing out his beard is because of a new project that is similar to Outlander, but he couldn't tell us anything else. So it's either a period drama or a period show or movie of some sort, or it's time traveling. I'm not really sure. But I have a feeling it's more of a period drama where he's expected to have a fuzzy face. Now, at this meet and greet, we're all allowed to submit one question. And so people asked him a lot about like the sports that he follows, whether it's football team or he's talking about his hockey team, which apparently are the Leafs, and they are not doing well. Being a fan of a sports team that's not doing well is difficult. And that was a big part of the conversation. I personally submitted a question having to do with what was his favorite costume as a child on Halloween, because it was just after Halloween. And he was very nice and had described a couple of different costumes. But honestly, the best answer he had, because it just sort of went on a tangent, the best part of his answer was actually talking about something that happened to him as an adult who was giving out candy at Halloween. And that was, well, you know how when you're busy, sometimes you leave a bowl of candy with a sign that says take one or take two, and you just hope the honor system means that the candy will last 5 or 10 minutes before somebody dumps the bowl in their bag. Well, he did the same thing, except he was still sitting outside, and he caught some kids trying to dump the bowl and scared the bejesus out of them. So I thought that was a fun story. So we're going to be looking out for projects that Charles will be in where he has a beard. And if you ever trick or treat at his house, only take one or two. whatever's on the sign. Now, you know, one thing I love at conventions are to check out the vendors. And while this is a very small convention that has very few attendees, there are still some great vendors. Four, in fact, were there. One is my favorite one is the t-shirt lady. The t-shirt lady comes up with some great stuff, and I bought myself 2 new t-shirts. They go well with my Dr. Hunter and Let's Hear It for the Boys t-shirts that I got from her last year. There was also a vendor who was selling different tallow products to soften skin and other things. And then 2 artists that had different kinds of products, both based in Outlander. One sold kind of caricatures and bookmarks and calendars, and then another did something similar but also had things that she had made up on the site, including what I thought was a clever idea. You know how we have those seatbelt covers for comfort so it doesn't scratch your neck? Well, they had some for kids that were shaped like guitars so that while kids are in the car, they can pretend they're playing their guitar. I thought that was clever and cute. Here's some QR codes for the folks in case you are interested in checking them out. Now, day one really was my crazy busy day, just a lot to get done. But I also ran into a friend from last year named Billy, who always dresses the part and took some special time to show off his kilt so that I could show it off to my husband, who also has fantastic knees. But loves camo. So I want to thank Billy for taking a moment so I could get some good pictures of and share this with everybody because it is clever. I like the camo kilt and I know my husband would get a huge kick out of it himself. Now, day 2, much of the same on Saturday. Did not have as many autographs and things to do for myself. In fact, I only had one thing to do, and that was the meet and greet for the special guest. We all knew who most of the guests were going to be, but there was one special guest that hadn't been announced yet, and that was Sophie Skelton. Now, I lucked out big time. I was totally wrong about who it was going to be, but so happy to find out that it was going to be Sophie. And so I got to go to a meet and greet with Sophie, and she did something cool too. Also taking a question from each of us that we had written down on a piece of paper, but she signed the back of them. So we all got a Sophie Skelton autograph as well as Sophie Skelton selfies. And I feel like I photobombed her picture of herself in this one, but she was so sweet and spent most of the time in the meet and greet talking about her beloved pup, Loka, and also like the move and how it affected him. Because, you know, they just moved to New York and he was used to running around in grass, and now not a lot of grass in New York. And so her main objective has been to make sure that his feet are cared for. And I just thought was really, really sweet. It says a lot about her character, that her biggest concern is her sweet pup and how he's faring with this huge change, because it's a huge change. And she talked a lot about things like getting the right food for him. Folks in the meet and greet were willing to help and giving her advice on what's the best diets and where's a good places to get dog food. Everybody was so nice. Now, her, I asked if there were any skills from Boy Scouts that she's carried through life, and she says making a fire. She could make a fire in any kind of weather, outdoors, whether it's raining, sleeting, perfectly sunny. She is the go-to person for making a fire, and I think that is a useful skill. Now, something I also discovered finally on day 2 was that there was a place, a balcony that we could go to for those of us who have bad nicotine habits, to go outdoors and get a moment. Now, luckily, my bad nicotine habit is vaping, so I don't know if that's a luckily thing or not, but I didn't have to worry about ashes or anything, and they didn't keep any ashtrays out there, so I did have one advantage on that part. But there was a really good view from this balcony, too, of the bit of town that was around us, so I wanted to show that real quick. And, yeah, this was a nice little spot. Ran into volunteers here, ran into Billy here, ran into other folks who were just taking a break, because it can be quite overwhelming, and at the same time, you don't want to get away too far from everything that's happening. Oh, we also got a surprise panel with just Sophie and Izzy at one point, too, which I thought was pretty fun. Izzy McHale, and she came out. There was a lot of talk about Izzy's ring and how we were all going to get blinded from it. With her being newly engaged, we were making jokes about, well, Sophie was making jokes about being blinded from the ring. Well, everybody was so excited and happy for her. And of course, I can't share anything for the panels, but I will tell you this much. You can tell they're very friendly, they get along, and that's true for the entire cast. Anytime they have these discussions, they just joke and play and have fun, and it's so sweet. Really, day two was kind of just like walking around and enjoying each other's company and having chats with folks. The one thing I was really excited about for Saturday was, of course, the dance party. The dance party, I think, is super fun because it's just a lot of women having a great time, and we just dance around. There are a couple of men, don't get me wrong, but we vastly outnumber the men who come. I will say the men who do show up, man, they're just as obsessed as we are. Just it's great and fantastic, and yeah, just enjoyable because everybody there is there for the same reason. They love Outlander. But I headed home a little early after I had everything taken care of and had done my live with you guys, which went really well. Everybody was really nice at the table, trying to be quiet while I did it. And I was like, you guys can talk. I have my own little right here personal microphone, so it doesn't pick up everybody. But they were trying so hard to be nice, and especially since I was taking up a good portion of the table with my computer, the extra monitor, camera, yeah, it's a lot. But it packs away very nicely after I was done. And so I basically headed out after I was done with all my meet and greet with Sophie and the recording for you guys. Mostly because I knew I needed some time to prepare myself for the big group. I told this to Sheila and Alexandra. I love people. I really do. I like being able to visit with folks that I know, that we share stuff in common, but I also get very overwhelmed by too many people. I don't know if it's an anxiety thing or not liking big crowds. I can deal with it for a while, but then I need some time to myself. And so I headed back to the hotel, ready to relax and enjoy a little bit of a meal and maybe a little TV before getting gussied up and going out and ready to boogie. Now, the next part of this review is completely personal on my part, and if you don't want to hear about female issues and plumbing that doesn't work the way it ought to after a certain age, then I suggest you just like move to this timestamp right here, because you're not going to want to hear this next part. But there'll be more to come having to do with the gathering in just a little bit. All right, now that it's just us folks who want to hear the terrible ravages of old age, my cycle has been completely ridiculous for the past year and a half. And I probably gave too much information to the ladies at the table when I explained this on Sunday. However, this was the joyous evening of Saturday for me. I went back to my hotel and noticed that I had my cycle was starting, which is odd because I just finished 6 days beforehand of a 33-day cycle. And I don't mean I'm saying cycle, but you know what I mean. A bloody mess. 33 days of it. So I thought I was going to be free and clear at least for a couple of weeks at Sasnak City. I was wrong. So luckily I always carry a couple emergency pads in my hygiene pack for travel. Just ladies, we do that. Yes, yes. And so I thought I was prepared. All right. My first day is always super light. It's never a problem. I mean, I'm lucky. Yeah, you know what I mean. It's just super light. So I dressed, I put on a nice blouse, put on my slacks, refreshed my makeup and my hair, which, let's face it, my hair takes little, my makeup tricky sometimes, but because I don't wear it very often. And I drove back out to the hotel, realized, thanks to, again, the volunteers being so helpful and nice, that I was there about 2 hours early. Okay, I decided I would just, chill out and wait. So I went outside for a little while, sat outside, watched cars come and go, folks come and go, watched my tablet or my phone for a bit, and then started to feel a bit uncomfortable. And dashed my way into the restroom and realized that my light day had become my day 3. Again, we are all different, but picture a flood coming from nowhere suddenly. So I was like, okay, I have just enough time. If I go now, I can stop at a Walgreens, pick up more supplies than I thought I would need, run back to the hotel, and get back just after the dance starts. Good times, no problem. You know, ladies, how when you sit for a while during your cycle and then you stand up and everything that was nicely in place while you were sitting lets loose? That happened to me when I got out of my Jeep walking into Walgreens. Luckily, the Walgreens was fairly close, and luckily also that I was wearing black pants, because this was, or dark pants anyway. Yeah, it was not good. I'm pushing my purse behind me, hoping no one can notice what's happening. Get back to my hotel with multiple supplies and realize that I'm going to have to completely wash my trousers. Just completely wash. And I only have one pair of trousers left for the week, and all of this is going to take longer than I thought it would. So, because my body was unpredictable and I wasn't sure what I could get away with or not, I did not go to the dance. Instead, I did laundry in my bathtub and tried my best to get everything laid out so it would dry enough to pack, because I had to pack the next morning and check out of the hotel before I went to day 3 on Sunday so that I'd be ready to drive back Sunday afternoon. So that is what I did. I sat and I had luckily had already gotten my meal before all this, so I just ate some more of my Panda Express noodles and felt crappy in my hotel room and kind of just got sad about what I missed. And the next day when I did go to the last day of the gathering, I did find out what I missed was a lot of glitter. Apparently glitter was involved. It was a good time. However, if I was going to miss one of the attendances to the dance, this would have been the year I would want to miss, because apparently none of the celebrities came out and danced with the folks at the dance. So I don't feel too terrible, other than I was really looking forward to, getting my boogie on. No boogie, more like if I had a heating pad, you would know exactly what I look like in the hotel bed right now. But Sunday was here. I got dressed, properly put together for such an occasion, and went out for my last day. My last day was going to include the one thing that I was not able to get last year and did not come with my package this year, and that was a picture of myself with John Bell, who I adore. So young Ian and I had a moment, a very nice moment. No, he was so sweet. He came, put his arm around me, brought me over. I ended up putting my arm around him, even though it felt like weird. I don't know if anybody wants to know. Smells fine. Not overly rigid, but, firm. And so just a sweet, funny guy, but I wanted to show you what he looks like with his little red mustache. I could not get over it. He's so clean shaven in Outlander that just kind of blew my mind. Look, young Ian has hair on his face. Now that ended my personal adventure, because I was packing up and heading out the door. I was going to be able to head out by around 11 o'clock in the morning, which was about 3 hours earlier than I thought I would. Gonna miss closing ceremonies, but I'd gotten everything that I'd come here to get, that I was allowed to get. But on my way out the door, I noticed that the auction was going. Yeah, people donated everything from signed cocktail books to Sheila and donated a couple of her prints of her Lauren Lyle painting. And people had all kinds of stuff. They put bids down for it. They buy tickets, and then they put bids down for each thing that they want with their tickets, and see who wins. 4 prints were given away of Sheila's, and I'm kind of jealous, but also at the same time really glad, because like I said, the money that I made there, I spent there. It all went right back to Gina or the vendors. So I'm glad for everybody who was able to take part in the auction. I know that this year, at least one of the benefits that Gina was trying to support, or charities that Gina was trying to support, was for study of dementia. And you all know what I went through with my dad. So I fully support that, and wish I could have taken a bigger part of it, but I did need to head home. I will say that the drive home, if you're staying with me through this, there is something interesting that happens. My drive home was slightly more eventful, because starting with the lady problems again, I had to stop. My first stop, I ended up having to do all of my wash from my waist down in a gas station bathroom that the door didn't lock. Luckily, I was wearing one of my new shirts from the nice t-shirt lady at the gathering, and that sucker came down to like mid-thigh. So if anybody walked in, which nobody did, thankfully, I wouldn't be exposing my world to the world. And then I got into my Jeep soaking wet from the waist down, or at least not soaking wet. I tried to wring everything out as best I could. Yeah, when I say I got about a week's worth of my cycle in about every hour. I stopped every hour and a half. 2 hours, I think, was the longest that I had. And y'all are going to be like, well, why didn't you double up? No, honey, I was doubled up on everything. Is bad. This is why I take iron pills a lot. But I did make it home. And by the time I got into around Indianapolis, or Chicago, I should say, there was spit and snow a little bit, but nothing bad. However, when I did hit Indianapolis, it was coming down pretty decently. Not in like crazy flurries blizzard, but it was coming down. And as I was heading to one of the exits about 20 minutes, 30 minutes away from my destination, destination known as home, I saw this. If I hadn't had to stop constantly on the way back home, I would have been involved in this accident. I could pretty much guarantee it just because that's how my luck is sometimes. So I will thank my body for being an annoying, unpredictable pain in the rear to save me from having an accident because the weather was not great. I did get home just fine though. I got home. It was around midnight and another day on the road. I was just ready to recuperate. And so I did. I have been recuperating. I swear it's taking me longer to recuperate. I also realized I need to get back on blood pressure medicine because I had a headache that wouldn't quit and I figured out that's what it's from. So yay, blood pressure medicine. Yay, anxiety. Yay, very nice Jeep that got me there and back with no hiccups at all. I mean, I was like paranoid. I was like, all right, this is my first really, really big drive. Okay. I've gone 4 hours driving and stopped once or twice on the way, but this is the test. And the Jeep passed the test with flying colors. So thank you everybody who has helped to make sure I had that vehicle because sucker's working out very nicely. And that is it. All right. So my thoughts on this time, other than personally not being able to do what I thought I was going there to do, it was fine. I had a good time. I got lucky with an extra meet and greet. I got the photo with John, which I was really hoping to do. Plus, get a bonus selfie photo. That's just awesome. I mean, I could not have planned for a better time as far as being a convention attendee goes. Got to see lots of familiar faces, met a few new folks, and got to meet some of you as well, which is a huge thrill to me to know that, like, watch me on occasion. That gives me just happiness. Now, here are my takeaways having gone to now 2 Sasnak cities. If you're going to go to one of these conventions that are specialized and you get a bunch of extra stuff if you get a higher tier, my suggestion is do that your first time. You're going to get a lot of different photographs and photo ops that you might not want to plan for later. You get some extras like meals and, just some extras that come with being a VIP and paying for the higher tier. However, if you've already got the start tier collection going, I suggest you get a lower tier for your second or third or fourth or however many times you go, because getting a whole bunch of these bonus photographs of the same people that you already have one with, well, the selfies you can pay for separately, the photographs you can pay for separately, and the autographs, again, you can pay for separately. And it might come out less expensive if you're just purchasing the ones you're really after this time. That is my overall suggestion. Now, when it comes to the venues and the organization, I think Gina does a fantastic job. Though I really do wish they were, the seating was the theater seating. I really do. But that being said, to take the time to put a platform at the front of the ballroom to try to make sure that it's decent seating. The seats were spaced out. The tables were put in logistically, I think, in a way that allowed most people to be able to see as best they could. I understand that the difficulty of trying to make it so that everybody gets just as good of a seat as the other is complicated because we come in all shapes and sizes. But the venue itself was comfortable. It was spacious. It was clean. The staff was nice. And again, the volunteers who help Gina out are always just impeccably kind. Now, I have it on good authority that the next Sasnak City, the gathering will be held at yet a different venue, and that they will do their very best to make sure everybody gets as good of an experience as they can. So absolutely, I would still recommend this convention, regardless of where it's being held. Because more than anything else, you get a group of folks who all love Outlander. You get a group of folks who are kind and sweet to each other and who are just happy to see each other. But don't take my word for it. Here are some folks who shared with me their favorite part of the gathering this year. I didn't do that. I don't know why I did that. Hello, and how are we doing today? Look, I have a little microphone. It has my name on it. I'm so proud. Okay, so I am still at the gathering. I'm actually only going to be here for a few more minutes or, well, a couple more, maybe even an hour tops. I'm just waiting to get John Bell's, not autograph, but a photo op with him. So folks are coming back from getting group pictures. And I got some friends here at the table. I asked them if they would share what has been their favorite moment here at where are we again? The Comic-Con, the gathering at Sasnak City. I have been to too many conventions, and I'm not done this year. So just if you're anybody who doesn't mind answering, what would have been your favorite moments of the convention?
I think my favorite moments have been the panel discussions because they're so interesting and they're funny. That's been my favorite.
I'm Erin. I love the panels too, of course, but I also really love just seeing the cast like out and about because I think that this convention is like the hotel this time is really nice because you just see them like out walking and see them coming out of the elevator, and that's been fun.
So you're liking the chance encounters to just sort of run into them. That's very cool. All right, all right.
John Bell.
John Bell's always fun. Did you go to the dance last night? Meaning I slacked off. I was in my hotel room sleeping. So yeah, no. Anything you're expecting to get done today that you're looking forward to?
Pictures. Lots of pictures.
Whose picture?
Kirsten is
Kristen Atherton? Yeah. Loved her.
My favorite moment, there were two wonderful moments. When we got Sophie's autograph, she jumped up from the table and hugged both of us. And when we got Braden's autograph, we gave him a little Zippo lighter, and he said, "Oh, is this for me to sign?" And we said, "No, that's for you, sweetheart." And he said, "For me?" Aww. And he jumped up and he hugged me and he hugged Billy. And the people here are just so genuinely friendly. It's really nice.
Was this your first convention for all three of you?
My favorite was the Blue Mountain, and got to meet everybody and sit and talk with everybody. That was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
I second that.
So the Blue Mountain was your favorite for all three of you? Oh, that's really cool! Yay! Now, I'm just curious because I've loved these tartans the whole time. Who was like, all right, we need to get a tartan cape? We are super Outlander fans. We will be.
Just went to Scotland, so I actually got our Campbell tartan, and as a surprise. And then my sister found these because freaks. We were going to dress up in the full garb, but we didn't.
Absolutely. Well, Billy takes care of that for us every year. He's our cosplayer. You're all three sisters? Okay. Can I say that I don't even see the resemblance? I'm terrible with faces. I'm horrible with faces. I'm really am. But you guys look really, really happy, and that's really cool. I'll take that. You say you're taking an individual photo?
Individual with Braden right now.
Oh, okay. Well, then I won't interrupt you. Please go. Go, Braden. I'm told he's very cute.
That might be our favorite part.
Okay. Well, there you go. I will tell you, most of the actors, when you get your pictures taken with them, they've been putting their arm around you, give you a little hug. That's good stuff.
One of my favorite parts, because there's several favorites, is meeting Braden Clark. Oh my gosh, just knowing his background, and he's a ball of energy. But yeah, he's got a different take to some of this coming from Canada and his experiences, and then what he's like moving on for, and because his character's also different, I think that's part of it. That he's just got, they're all lovely, absolutely lovely. You can't go wrong with meeting any of them. So that's one of my favorites.
So just seeing familiar faces, new faces,
and spending time with them and enjoying the same interests. It's a wonderful experience.
Thank you so much, ladies. Hope you have a good rest of your convention. Anybody want to share their favorite moments about this convention so far? Blue Mountain, that's been a popular answer.
It's really nice.
What was your favorite part about it?
You get to talk to all of the people that are here to attend, all of the stars from the show, and, just find out a lot of, fascinating facts that you wouldn't normally find out in a panel. So that's
all right. That's good. One you want to share? What would you? Okay, today.
Kristen taught me how to make Yorkshire pudding, which is a recipe from England that my mom used to make that I never got the recipe for. And so my mom's passed away, and she taught me how to make it and gave me her. I'm literally writing it down right now how to do it.
Oh my gosh, that is so nice. That's awesome. Very personal.
Get at another convention.
No, that's what I've said. I said it's a little pricey. I'm not gonna lie, but you.
Worth it.
Thank you. You absolutely get moments at this convention that you would not get at other conventions. It's Batgirl Fangirl. I'm fangirling over Batgirl Fangirl. Thank you very much for all of your hard work. I share so much of it. Oh my gosh. Well, and I think that's John and... Ah, okay. Oh my gosh.
Just fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just fun. There's so much fun.
Did you bring the bow and arrow for them? Okay. I just like to ask stuff.
I always bring props if I have them, and it's
Very clever, and you always have the best pictures. You just do.
we just have so much fun.
Thank you so much for sharing. You too. I'm tired. It's been a busy week, and I've gotten to meet so many fun folks, and everybody's been so nice. So I'm gonna let you go, and thanks for joining me and my wobbly camera while I try to figure out how to use a microphone. So this became a very unpredictable adventure between not being able to record what I was hoping I'd be able to record, and there, of course, meaning I couldn't take the pictures I was hoping to take. I still got to do some amazing things, and I will tell you right now that if you are a first timer coming to this convention at any year, it behooves you to get one of the higher tiers. It'll cost you more, but you're going to get a lot of different autographs and photo ops, and have better seating. I think it's worth the price. However, I'm going to say that if you've been here one or two times and you've already started your Outlander autograph photo collection, it may be a better choice to get one of the lower tiers. That way you'll have extra money to add on for the guests that you want to get specifically. And of course, group photos, individual photos, selfies, all that fun stuff, because none of it's free. And not everything you want is going to come with any one tier. So you always want to make sure you have a little extra cash. Also, don't ever forget to bring some extra cash just for the extras outside. There are auctions and other opportunities that Gina likes to use to raise money for different foundations. The auction today, I believe, had to do with raising awareness or research for dementia. And as somebody whose father just went through that, I wish I had the extra cash to do that. But I wanted to make sure that I could get home. So I had to leave early for that reason. But this has been a really fun time. I don't know that I'll come next year just because it is pricey. I've come a couple of times. I've gotten a good portion of the people I'd really want to have an autograph or a photo op or selfie with. So I may wait a year or two before I come again. But I'll tell you this much, because I've got so many, I probably would go with a lower tier, sit a little further in the back, and save some of that money to get specifically what I'd like to get. The good news is with getting doubles, I'm going to have some autographs that I'm just going to need to give away again. All right, guys, thanks so much for listening to my little review and a recap of the Gathering 2025. It was a good time. It was a fun time. Great faces, great folks to see again. Loved listening to the guests speak at the panels. Yeah, before I go, this is my last little bit just for you, shared by other folks, because that's what I do here. I share what other people are kind enough to share with us. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. If not, thumbs down, and don't forget to comment. Either way, thank you so much to my members. You help make trips like this possible, and thanks again to those of you who donated to my vehicle. I really appreciate all of your support, everybody, because I would not be taking this trip or any others without your help. Well, I might be, but it'd be a lot harder. So I do appreciate your support each time that I go out and try to make something interesting for you to check out too. I will see you on Monday for, again, another update of Outlander and our folks and what's going on. Until then, please be safe, have a great day, and if you'd like to check out any other of my videos, you know the playlists, they're down below. Whatever video you choose, I'll see you there.